Hi everyone, ciao from Italy. This is Oven92 from DeviantArt, and I'm here with yet another video, which is this time a video FAQ, frequently asked questions, and questions that have been asked on DeviantArt, and which I often answered. But I thought this time I will group them all in this video, so you guys can come back and listen to them every time you want, if you want to listen to them. And so, since there's quite many of them, I'd say we begin immediately. And so the first question has, how long have you been drawing? And so I've been drawing ever since I can remember, actually. And my first wolf, I think I made it at the age of 4. I'm not sure, I can't remember actually, but I have this old picture which is what I thought was a wolf, which is actually a brown sheep without any regularity. And but that one character was Lucky, the very first character I invented. It was a kind of wolf dog mix thing. I have no idea what it was. And the most important thing it was the first character I ever invented and the first protagonist of my very first comic, which I called in an Italian way, but anywho. It was not my original idea, actually. I just watched cartoons on TV and made the stories exactly alike, but with my characters. So it wasn't really original. But anywho, that was my first approach to a comic experience. So, second question has, I saw you speak many languages, but what country are you from exactly? Well, as you may have heard at the beginning of the video, I am Italian. I am from Italy, so Italian is my first language, but I can speak English pretty much commonly. Also because I'm going to an English university right now, so I get to practice it every day. But I can also speak French and Spanish because I learned them at school. And so I have quite an experience with those languages. So if you happen to speak those two languages better than English, don't hesitate and just write to me in that language. It's okay to me. It doesn't really matter. And so next question has, what do you use to line art? So for the line art, which is the outline of the sketch, I use these 5 Stettler, I think it's called like that. Stettler was a pigment liner, and I have 5 different grades which go from 01 to 08, and the difference between one grade and another is that the tip is more or less thick. So for example 0.1 has the thinnest tip, while 0.8 has the thickest one, and they're pretty good when it comes to drawing things that are different distances, and it's very likely to be a successful way to interpret that. While next question is, what do you use to color? To color, I have this amazing box of 120 Caran d'Ache pencils, and it's a Swiss mark, a Swiss brand, and these pencils are water soluble, which means they can become watercolors. So if there's some water on them, but I don't use that filter much. I just use them as regular pencils. and the feature they have as pencils is that they are pretty waxy. They have a very soft lid, which is great for blending and shading, and I just love them. I know there's probably some better brands, like for example Pearl Leather on DeviantArt thinks that the best pencils ever are polychromos. I've never got to try those, but I'd never changed my current dash for anything actually. So those are the pencil I use both for my comic and my commissions, and there you go. Well, next question. How do you make those amazing light effects? Are they done digitally? They're probably referring to light effects of the sun on some of my deviations. No, they're not digital. I can use Photoshop, but those effects in particular are done entirely traditionally, and with this amazing pencil called I don't know how it's pronounced. Again, it's Staedtler Lumocolor Permanent. I think it's pronounced like that. I use that one pencil, and this other pencil that has more or less the same features, which is Fano's Kina marker. It's not China, it's Kina. This I'm sure of. And they're both very unusual pencils, because they have this pigment inside, which is very waxy again, but it's also very bright, and it colors over other things. They can write on everything, even on metal, even on plastic, on glass, anything, and they color. They create a layer over what's already down. So they're great for light effects, because they don't blend with other colors and they remain bright. So that's great when doing sound effects and light and highlights also. It's really great. I'm glad I have these pencils. And so, how long does a page take? This is the next question. So a page from Chakra, my comic, can take up to 12 hours. Yeah, I know it's a lot, but I know many people who have comics and which take even more. Anyway, it takes me 3 hours to get the sketch done, especially when it comes to a very detailed page or a very difficult pose. And so 3 hours for the sketching, and more or less 1 hour for the inking. Inking is a fastest step, but doesn't mean that it's the easiest one, because if I get something wrong there, it's over. So I sketch first, then I ink, and how's that called again? The coloring is the step that takes the most, and it takes from 6 to 8 hours maximum, and it's the longest step, as I said, and it's very tiring. So I often line art and sketch in one day, and then the day after I try to color all together. And so the page can take up to 2 days to complete. And the other steps that are scanning and speech bubbling are not really hard. They take just 1 hour maximum, but they usually take less. It just depends on how much stuff there's to do, like for example adjusting the brightness or contrast, or adding this many bubbles, and so that's the lowest step actually.